Hello everyone, my name is Khánh, and today I'm going to talk about the methods teaching speaking. So in my presentation, there are six parts. Yes. The first part is what is teaching speaking. The second part is aspect of speaking. The third part is characteristic of a good speaking activities. The fourth part is problem with the speaking activities. The fifth part is classroom speaking activities. And the last part is correcting student mistake in a speaking lesson. So first of all, I would like to talk about what is teaching speaking. So according to Jenny, speaking is the process of building and sharing meaning through the use of verbal and nonverbal symbols in a variety of contexts. Speaking is a crucial part of second language learning and teaching. Teaching speaking is to teach our learners to produce the English speech sounds and sound patterns in words and sentences structures, in notation patterns, and the rhythm of the second language. Select appropriate words and sentences according to proper social setting, audience, situation, and subject matters. Organize their thoughts in a meaningful and logical sequence, and use the language quickly and confidently with few unnatural pauses, which is called as fluencies. So next, I want to talk about aspect of speaking. So you can see there are two aspects of speaking is accuracy and fluency. With accuracy, there are 3 points. It's lack of hesitation, length, and independence. With fluency, we have also 3 points: grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. So now we move to the characteristic of a good speaking activities. So there are 4 characteristics of a good speaking activities. So the first one is learners talk a lot. As much as possible of speaking time is occupied by students. The second one is participation in events. Classroom discussion is not dominated by a minority of talkative students, and all students get a chance to speak, and contributions are fairly evenly distributed. Third one is motivation is high, as students enjoy activities, and all students are involved in activities, and students pay much persistent attention to tasks, and all students are eager to speak. And the last one is characteristic is language is at an acceptable level. It is possible for students to express themselves in utterances. Language is irrelevant and easily comprehensible, and at an acceptable level of accuracy. So what about the problem with the speaking activities? Okay, so there are some common problem and solution. Is there four problems. Is inhibition, nothing to say, low or uneven participation, and the last one is mother tongue use. So what the teacher can do to have to solve some of the problem. So there are, so I have 5 suggestions. So the first suggestion is we have to use work group. So the second one is base the activity on easy language. The third one is make a careful choice of the topic and task to stimulate interest. The fourth one is give some instruction or training in discussion skills. And the last one is give students speaking the target language. So classroom speaking activities, there are three types. Is controller activities, guided activities, and freer or creative activities. So with controllers activities, this aim to improve accurate use of words, structure, and pronunciation. And the second one is to foster confidence. For example, repetition, practice of set sentence prompted by picture or word cues. With guided activities, this aim to have students use language is about structure and vocabularies, which has been taught beforehand. And now with freer or creative activity, this aim to give students creative practice for predicted language items. Fluency practice where specific language focus is less relevant, and students are given opportunity to experiment to see how far they communicate and to practice fluent use of the language they know. And student motivation is increased since students talk for themselves and help bridge the gap between the artificial world of classroom and the real world outside. Inevitable mistakes should be seen as part of learning to communicate. So speaking in the classroom, we need to get our learners to practice both production and interaction. So there are three types. Yes. So the first type is drill. We have substitution drill, transformation drill, and functional situational drill. The second one is pair work or group work, and the last one is interactive activities. And we have information gap, discussion activities, role plays, games, or informal interaction. So here are the guidelines for a free or creative speaking activity. We have three steps. So the first step is before the lesson. We have to decide your aims, what you want to do and why, and try to predict what student will bring to the activity and any problem they may have. Work out how long activity will take and make it to the time available. Prepare material and work out your instruction. The second step is during the activity. We have to arrest student interest through visual or a short lead in talk. Relate topics to student own experience. Remind students of any useful structure or vocabulary, perhaps leaving them on board for relevance, for reference. Set up activity so students know the aims of activity and what they are to do. And this means giving clear instruction and checking that they have understood. And make sure students have enough time for prepare before asking them to start main activity. Monitor activity, don't interrupt, except to provide help and encouragement if necessary, and what the pace. And the last one is evaluate activity and student performance to provide feedback later. So the last step is after the activity. We have to indicate how each person communicated, comment on how fluent it was, and how well they ask or use as a group, and note down outstanding and recurrent errors in grammar, pronunciation, use of vocabulary. Individual mistakes might be discussed in private with student concerned, and common mistake can be mentioned and then practice another day when you have had a chance to prepare a suitable remedial lesson. So the last part is correcting student mistake in a speaking lesson. We have feedback and correction. With feedback, learner need encouragement, and they need to know when they are making mistakes that cause other people not to understand or misunderstand them. With correction, it is more difficult to decide when to correct. Teacher can choose to correct as soon as the mistake is made or at the end of the activity or class. So how can we correct learners? The advantage of immediate correction is that the learner can correct the errors and use the corrected language for the rest of the activity. And the disadvantage is that it can break the flow of communication and possibly demotivate or embarrass the learners. So it is the presentation. So thank you for listening.